friends. This is the Be Real Babe podcast, a place where your average babes come together to talk about life stresses, messes, and successes. A place where being yourself is the ultimate goal, where your opinion, your story, and your individual experience matters. Join me, your host B, and my guests for real and raw talks every week, laying it all out there so we can all help each other learn more, grow deeper, and evolve collectively. Now keep in mind, as a disclaimer, no one here is an expert and no one is giving any advice. This is strictly our opinions, thoughts, feelings, and for entertainment purposes only. Now with that being said, it's time. So grab your drink, grab your joint, and let's jump right in. Welcome everyone. Welcome to the Be Real Babe podcast. If this is your first time here, thank you so much for stopping by the show today. I hope that you have a good time. And if you're a returning listener, watcher, supporter, thank you guys so much from the bottom of my heart for coming back time and time again. For those that don't know me, my name is Brandy. I am the host of the show, and today you guys are on episode 224, Being Real About Botox Injury, Part 4. That's right, y'all. We have another series coming out on Botox Injury. It's going to be for the next episodes. Buckle up because I have another bunch of beautiful, strong, amazing babes coming on to share their experience of using Botox and how that has ruined and wrecked a lot of their lives and their come up stories that they're working through right now. I am absolutely honored and so proud of these women. I know that it is not easy to come on here and talk about this. It is not easy to go out there and be vulnerable about your experience, especially with the, I'm sorry, I hate to say this, but trolls and haters in the comment section, discrediting them, gaslighting them, being mean to me, calling us fear mongering, all of those types of things. And I'm sorry that if that's how you feel, and you probably think that by saying that you might stop me or slow me down, but I'm only going to be standing 20 toes down on this one. And I am not going to sit here and tell any woman that's had a bad experience with a product and is working through that they're fear mongering, that they're gaslighting, that they're lying, because that's not how we do it here on the podcast. So if that's how you feel and you want your energetic karma to be out there discrediting these women, that's for you, baby. I'll let you and whoever God you speak to deal with that. But here on this show, we believe these women, we cultivate these types of conversations, and we hold space to hear what the fuck is going on. Because to me, sounds like some shit is going on in this industry, okay? There's some things, and I understand that that is scary and we might not want to know that, and these experiences might be awful to listen to. How do you think these girlies felt going through that? If you can't even listen to their stories, imagine going through it. So I understand that it might not be for everyone at every time to hear these messages, but I really, really hope that you will hold space for these women and support them in the comment sections, in their DMs, and ask more questions rather than tell them no, myself included. I absolutely appreciate all the comments I get back. I absolutely will take constructive criticism. Absolutely. At the same time, it is very disheartening. It gets very frustrating to be trying to spread this information so that people know about this and being told that you're a hater, that you're jealous, that you don't care. It's just not true. I have heard so many of these stories since coming out as an advocate for this space in 2021. And I, up until this point, have not been able to have somebody on because of the hate that these individuals get for just speaking their truth and their story and just wanting to warn others. So long-winded story. I just needed to get it out because after the first series, I did get some comments and I just wanted to address some of them, if you will, because I'm just not going to hold any space for those types of comments or negativity here. So just do yourselves a favor. If you're immediately going to get mad and come at anybody here on this next series or the one past with hate, just don't bother. But if you're into listening to what real women are dealing with on the daily basis and continually deal with, then I really, really suggest sticking around for this other series. Like I said, number 4, we have Kaley. She's coming from us from the States as well, and she shares with me from the beginning to the end what she's experienced, and now just being at this time currently about 6 months out of this injury and her whole entire experience. But before we get on to this amazing episode, guys, I just want to remind you, if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, to turn on notifications and leave me a review if you feel so kind. Really helps get this out to the other people. Make sure you're sharing. You can go in there, just share the episode. I appreciate it so much. The reviews coming in is just amazing to see. 25 stars on Spotify, you guys. That is unreal. If you have a second right now, that would really, really help me. And if you are on Rumble, you can also turn on notifications and comment to help me with engagement. I really appreciate all of the support this season, you guys. This has been a fire season with very vulnerable, raw conversations. And I cannot thank my listeners and my guests enough for being here and trusting me to bring their stories, especially these Botox girlies. Y'all know how important informed consent is, and this is the biggest space where there is no informed consent, it feels like these days. So I cannot thank these girls enough. And obviously, huge shout out to Gretch from Never Talks, as always, for continually supporting these women and being there for them and being a supporter of me, as well as Terry Fox that we've had on the show too. You guys are amazing advocates in this space, along with these women that are coming in. So just want to make a huge shout out to them. Make sure you're following them both on Instagram, Foxhaven and Never Talks. Make sure to go check them out. They're amazing resources and support for anybody looking for alternatives or just to get the true facts about Botox. But this is the longest intro ever. I just really felt like I needed to say that. So thank you for listening, guys, and let's jump on to this episode. All right, babes, it's time to get on to the show. And with me today, I have a very special guest joining me for her first time. I'd like to welcome Kaley to the show. Hey, babe, how's it going?
Hey, Brandy, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm so sorry
I'm
for
happy
why
to be here.
I'm so sorry for it. Every time I'm this is such a weird thing for me to be I'm so happy to talk to you and meet you. But the reason that we met is because you didn't have a great experience, right?
Yeah.
So I was oh, I'm so excited. And then you're wait, are you just telling this person you're so excited they had a bad experience? Because that's not what I mean. But yeah.
Excited that Botox ruined your life, but
yeah, exactly. That's what I'm how do you say that? I appreciate your time. I wish that we met because, we shared a funny meme on Instagram and fell in love, but instead it's because you have a strong voice and you're speaking up for yourself, and immediately just drew me to you. And I'm just so excited to hear about your phoenix rising from the ashes, which each girl has come on here to say this happened to me, but look at the strength that I'm emitting now. So that's what I get excited for, just so we're clear. But before we jump on about your experience with Botox, do you want to explain a little bit about yourself and then your life before this all happened to you?
This is one of those questions where you're oh my god, what do
I know,
say?
I know. I have brown eyes.
Who am I?
I'm here. I'm a meat sack. I have anxiety. I like animals.
Yeah. No, I'm Kaley. I live in Wisconsin, Kenosha, Wisconsin. That's right in between Milwaukee and Chicago.
Okay.
So kind of a smaller city in Wisconsin. I live with my fiance and our two fur babies. We have two dogs. I have my soul dog who turns 11 next week. And then he's got a 2-year-old healer. So hopefully we won't have to edit out too much barking, but yeah, I was an OR nurse for about 9 years, and I stopped doing that about a year ago. So now I've been trying to, right before I got sick with all my Botox bullshit, I was trying to find what I wanted to get into going forward. Nursing was just kind of stressing me out, and didn't really feel like it was what I wanted to do anymore. So was trying to figure out kind of where I wanted to go in life. And this year was supposed to be the greatest year. 2025 was supposed to be my year. We were supposed to get married this year. We had plans to build a house this year, and we were gonna, after the wedding in September, we were gonna start to try to have children. So this was supposed to be my year. I was at last year, right around when I got my Botox injections and I got sick, I was at a really good place in my life. And yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry to hear that. I hate that. Well, and you know what? Maybe it doesn't feel like it's the year, but after all of this and you've maybe found the purpose, maybe that will be this is the year things changed. Maybe it wasn't the year that, you know, but maybe this is where it's you changed in your destiny and your journey and what you're meant to do, and life is going to surface through the bullshit that you went through. That's my only hope. I know a lot of the girls, you guys just feel so at least purposeful to spread the message, right? At least that is a hope resonating with you right now.
Yeah, it's one of the only things that you can do right now, because I think a lot of us are all in the same spot of just feeling so helpless and hopeless and what can I do? And there's really, at least from my experience, and we'll get into it more, there's really not much you can do besides wait. And I think in the waiting, you got to decide what am I going to do with all this suffering, and what am I going to do with all this pain? And am I going to keep it to myself and just sit and suffer, or am I going to share my story and spread awareness and let other people know, like, this is real, this can happen, and this is the type of stuff that doesn't hit the news. And it just blows my mind that stories like mine and stories like some of the other girls that you've had on your podcast, why this isn't getting pushed out more.
It's not sexy enough.
I don't understand that. I don't understand that. You see the stories of the people who get, the counterfeit Botox and whatever. There was, I think just last year that happened, or in April 2024, or something like that. And in the States, there was a group of people who had received some like counterfeit Botox, and that was, blasted all over the news. But everyday people who are normal and healthy and going to reputable injectors and getting reputable product are getting sick, and no one's giving a shit.
No, and chalking it up to saying, like, and I'm not saying that didn't happen, and we always know that there's always going to be knockoffs of everything, right? So, like,
right.
Seems on brand that they would have a knockoff at Botox, but it bothers me so much because that's what people refer to in the comment section. In my comment section of the reels of the episodes, it's like, well, they must have not gone to a good injector. Where'd they go? Who'd they go to? Was it just like, okay, don't go to a backyard Betty doing Botox in the backyard. Like, for sure, don't do that. But like,
you're asking for trouble.
Straight up, you're just playing with the devil there. Like, like Russian roulette. But that doesn't mean that going somewhere professional isn't, like, it's what your body's going to react to. A majority of people are noticing reactions, but they're being told, well, it's because of who did it or where you got it, or it's bad. And it's like, okay, well, then what about the ones that go to, like Amanda said, she went to one in Georgia or Atlanta. That was like one of the top places. Yeah. So it's like, okay, nobody on the show has been like, actually, I went to my friend Suzanne. She took a weekend course and she just got a couple vials. Like, no one has said that to me. It's all been like, no, these are spa medical places. Yep. Is that fair to say for you as well?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I had been going to this girl for a while, and she had just started her own little practice, and she's a registered nurse. She has her bachelor's degree. She's been doing it for years. I saw her with the vials that she took out of the cabinet. She's injected me before. And that's the thing, is just, it doesn't matter. Like, and yes, if you are getting it from Backyard Betty or whoever, you are going to run the risk of obviously having more of a chance for a reaction, but
doesn't eliminate
you
it.
have just as much of a chance getting it from a reputable injector, injecting you with legitimate product, because it doesn't matter. And this is what I said on my episode that I did with Gretch on Never Talks, is like, poison doesn't discriminate. It doesn't matter whose hands it is in, or who's getting injected. And everyone has that narrative. And like, I had that narrative too. Like, you kind of think that you're just like invincible. It's like when you look at, you pick up your medication and you look at all of the side effects and you're like,
not me.
How rare is that? Like, and is that going to happen to me? It's not going to happen to me. And that's how I kind of felt with Botox too, is I knew that there was risks, obviously. And being a nurse, I'm almost embarrassed to say I did not know that there was a black box warning, because no one told me that there was a black box warning. Every single injector, and I even went to some of the physicians, some of the plastic surgeons that I work with who injected me. And that was a very brief consult, because it was more of like a, hey, how's your day? Like,
we're good.
And then
bye.
And then walk right out the door. And then, that was kind of it. But this last time too, I really don't think that I had full informed consent. And I don't want to sit here and bash my injector, but,
it's hard not to.
There's an issue with informed consent across the board, but especially for me too, depending on where you're getting the Botox, how much you're getting. There's specific guidelines that the FDA has put out. And I wasn't aware of that until afterwards. And I'm like, shit, okay. So not only did I get injected in an area that was not FDA approved for the product that I received, which was Juvo, by the way, I got injected in my masseters, and I got injected above my lip, which is called a lip flip. And Gretch actually told me on my last live that I did that the maximum unit of Juvo you can receive is 20 units. I received 36. And neither of those two sites are FDA approved. So it's an off-label use of the product. I was not told that. That was not in my consent form.
That's wild. That is so wild.
That was shocking to find out after the fact that I had already received the injections and was sick. So,
that's the
I
one
just
thing.
found out that 20 unit information just a few weeks ago with Gretch. And when she said that on the live, I was like trying to keep my face like, I was like, bitch, what did you say?
What did
Like,
you say? And you hear some people getting like hundreds. You're like, what the actual F is going on? And I think what blows my mind too is just like, why aren't we having these conversations specifically in the medical field? Like, I'm not a part of it. High school graduate, did business admin. Okay. I'm not going to pretend to know the conversations, but I would think like when you have products, like, don't people want to know the reactions to it? Like, that's what my biggest, I'm just confused. Like when people say I'm having a negative reaction, why is it with certain products that people are just like, absolutely not? Like there's just some in the medical field. Like I'm not going to bring this conversation, but let's just say like vaccines or something. When someone says they've had an experience with that, people get very upset, but they will understand that someone has a reaction to amoxicillin. And it's same thing with Botox. Like, okay, we've acknowledged breast implant illness is a thing. But all of a sudden, Botox, it's like, oh no, it could never. Like that wording, like safe and effective and never discredits anybody that's had a bad experience. And that really upsets me. Wouldn't you want to know those things so you're giving good products? Like, isn't that the ethics thing or something? No, or am I just, I'm too outside of it? I don't know.
No, it is. It very much is. And being an operating room nurse, I mean, I don't see patients, you know, in the pre area where, you know, before they go back into surgery. But if you look at a surgical consent form, it tells you the risks of what can happen. And it tells you the down and the dirty and the true hard facts so that the patient knows exactly what they're getting into. And that does not happen with Botox. And it blows my mind.
Is it because it's like cosmetic? Is that like the cop out?
It could because it, you know, I have a few thoughts on this. I think that one, that there is lack of training. I think, you know, because yes, it can be a nurse. Yes, it can be a physician. But oftentimes, from what I understand, the training to inject Botox is done by a rep from the pharmaceutical company who sells Botox. That's my understanding. And I could get blasted here because I'm totally wrong. But from what I understand is that
sure there's
reps who work for the pharmaceutical company do the training on the injections. So what does that tell you right there?
Love that. In Canada, dentists do it a lot. A lot of people go to the dentist for Botox. I don't know if that's the same in the States too. So it's like, I imagine some of them are trained, but some people kind of aren't. Like if you look, I feel like it's almost like the fitness industry where there's like people can be trained and they can be super knowledgeable, but then people can kind of skirt around and do like a weekend course or a unit of something. And then they're doing it off label, which is so dangerous in my opinion for almost anything, because I feel like off label, it gives you less informed consent because there would be less information on there gathered about using something off label, right? Wouldn't that be fair? So it's like, no wonder why there's no tester for you guys to even know this, because one, who's going to pay for that? And two, like, are they going to pay for even off label things? I highly doubt it if it's making them money. No offense to injectors, but I really struggle, like, you know, and with all these people saying this, it's not like one or two people. Like the Disport group is what, 50K?
Almost, I think it's around, when I talked to Gretch, I think that she said out of all those, because there are some members who are, you know, haven't been ill or haven't been injured or
I'm one.
or you know, are
just learning information,
injectors, whatever, just learning information, just learning to, you know, I've sent a lot of people there who have kind of commented like, oh, that's, you know, you're fear mongering or you're making all this up. Like, no, I'm not. You can go to this group and read the testimonies of all these people, because it is absolutely 100% real.
Yes. And it's not rare. And I just like, I get really frustrated when I hear the things like believe all women. I want to do that thing. It's like, believe all women, except women who get Botox injuries. Like that's what it feels like. It's like, okay.
Don't believe them.
Don't believe them. They're lying. And that's, I just started posting on TikTok. Actually, it's a scary place, but that's what some of the things I got back for my episode posts with the other girls was, you're fear mongering. This rarely happens. And it's like, hold on. How do you think those girls felt when they were going through this? Do you think that they weren't suffering with fear? So me saying and sharing their experience is more fear mongering than people gaslighting them and saying they don't know what's wrong. They don't know what's wrong with you. It couldn't be the Botox. Like, I'm sorry. I don't see how spreading this message is more fear mongering than and hurting women more than discrediting the women that are fearful of what the fuck is going on with them and being lied to at every corner. Like, I don't know. Am I missing something? Maybe I've smoked that part out of my brain. I don't know.
That was very much the reaction that I got with one of my videos that went viral on TikTok too, posting about, it was like, you know, she doesn't know yet, but 72 hours from now, you know, she'll experience the adverse effects of Botox or Botox poisoning or something like that. And there was a lot of comments on there that were saying, oh, you're fear mongering and, you know, people don't know the whole story and you could have been sick beforehand. And I'm like,
Sure.
you know, I'm not sitting here with this like vendetta against like Botox and like these big pharmaceutical companies. I'm like, you know, crying to like bring them down because I'm not going to bring them down myself. That is for sure. No, it's because this does not get enough recognition. And I don't think that a lot of people knew what to do. And if I had not found that Facebook group, I would have been lost on what to do in those first couple of days, because I wouldn't have known that, you know, my injector needed to contact the FDA and report this as an adverse effect. And I wouldn't have known to contact my state health department. I would have known, you know, to talk to the CDC. I don't know if you guys have that, but it's like Centers for Disease Control. So like if you have like a poisoning
Similar.
or, you know, an adverse effect to a drug or something, like all of this stuff needs to get documented somewhere.
It does.
And I think that, you know, I was fighting with my injector back and forth about had she done, I still don't even know if she did it. She says she did, but I did it myself.
Good for
and
you.
The people were like shocked that they're like, you're the patient calling to report this? And I'm like, yeah, because my injector said she's going on vacation and I don't know if she's done it, and it's supposed to be done within a certain time frame, and I have no idea if she's done it. But I don't want to bash her, and you know, this who knows how it happened, but it did, and it's unfortunate, and it's just the facts of here we are now.
Yeah,
5
and it
months
doesn't.
later. So,
And the shitty thing is like, just because you're saying I've had a bad experience, I'm having bad reaction, why is it all of a sudden like you basically said like I hate you and go and die? It's like,
yeah.
like it's what I don't know. Again, I'm not an injector, so I don't know. But I think if my clients were coming to me and saying, "Hey, yo, something's crazy," I think I would not sleep until I helped figure out what was going on. At least the minimum saying, I'm sorry, I'll like some of the people I've heard have their injectors say that they're going to educate themselves now, right? Like even that, but it's just like, I don't know why there's like this complete dismissal. Like, I don't know what, like if you go to a hairdresser and you go back and you're like, hey girl, I didn't really like the tone that you did. Like, they're like, okay, well, you know what I mean? So why is it the specific one where the injectors are just discrediting their clients? It's just the only field I see that happens the most in, and I really can't put my finger on it.
Yeah. Like I said, I think it's like a lack of education. I think it's a lack of knowledge around what is happening to these men and women, you know, who are getting injured from this, and just in the medical community in general, even from my experience, you know, going to all these different specialists and doctors, no one really knows what to do.
No.
And I think that's where this comes from. And I don't think it's like a dismissal, like I'm being rude. I don't think she was being rude, but I just think that there's just not enough knowledge and education about the drug and what it can do and everything. When you get an injection and everything goes great, everything's fine and everyone's happy and skip on their way. And it's when someone comes to you and they're like, I'm having XYZ, and it's clearly stated on your warning label and you don't know what to do, that's a problem.
100%.
And like as a nurse, like I can't, and it didn't occur to me until I got sick. So back up to 2024, yes. I had been getting injections. Gosh, I started young, and because it's just so pushed that it's safe, and I like the way it made my forehead look smooth, and I was getting fine line. I have a very expressive face, and before this, I am not myself right now, but I was like a very like expressive, like funny, like, you know, very Disney like character. Witty, outgoing, like just a character.
Yeah.
And so I was starting to get fine lines in my forehead, and I'm like, you know what? I was probably like in my mid-20s when I started. I'm 32 now. And I started to get it in my forehead just a little bit, and that continued. And I was more of a sporadic user, and I also did lip filler. And so like when I would get my filler done, I'd get my Botox. So it was kind of like maybe once or twice a year, maybe. I wasn't like a religious, like every 3 months kind of person. But so it's been, good 7 years, I'd say I'd been getting Botox. And through all those times, like I can't remember one person ever mentioning to me about a black box warning. What's wild. FDA approved, what areas are approved, which aren't.
Yeah.
That was never brought up.
Even just like, hey, this is an off label. Are you good with that? Like, I mean,
No, that
informed
never was
consent,
them.
like informed consent is deeper than that, but that minimum piece of information I think is crucial more than anything. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, well, if you're going to do it and you're going to put that in the patient's hands to go research for themselves, I think you should at least say, hey, I don't know if you know this, but this is off label. Because
Yeah.
I don't know, I just think that's one that you
That
could have
might,
black box and then off label. That would have been nice if we could hear those things in these conversations. Doesn't matter if
pretty
it's
sure
a doctor or a nurse,
yeah,
like it should be said.
I'm pretty sure it's the law.
I
Pretty sure
thought
it's the
so,
law.
but people don't like to follow the law, I
So,
guess.
anyways,
So,
yeah, so I got, I had, so 2024, I'd gotten a lip flip, maybe like, it doesn't last very long. So I think I had gotten, that was the first time I'd gotten Botox in a long time. And my girl was like, where have you been? And I'm like, you know what? I don't know, like,
I needed a
I
break.
wasn't doing Botox very frequently. I just kind of like, was busy with life and whatever. And I had moved into an apartment, and then my fiance and I moved into a house. And then it was just kind of, it just wasn't at the top of my list. So we did the injections that day. This was December 3rd of 2024. I got a lip flip, and it was actually recommended to me by my dentist to get Botox in my masseters and my jaw muscles, because I was clenching so bad, and I was starting to get like tooth pain and like headaches. And I tried, I don't know how many different mouth guards I tried, and I kept failing them because I would be clenching the shit out of the mouth guard, or I have this like terrible habit. I'll like fall asleep with the mouth guard, and in the middle of the night I'll spit it out, and then I like wake up in the middle of the night and I'm like, okay, where's my mouth guard? Because it's not in my mouth. So this is obviously not working for me.
Not a fan.
So my dentist was like, maybe try getting Botox in your masseters, and researched about it. I'm like, oh, like, yeah, people seem to be getting it, and it seems like a common thing, and I haven't heard of anyone having any problems. And in general, I've never heard of anyone having like a huge problem from Botox. And so when I went to my injector, I said, what do you think? And she's like, yeah, she's like, your masseters are huge. Let's inject them. Let's see if it helps. And we injected them, and she wanted to do like 20 or 30 units into each masseter, which I guess is about the normal amount. And I was like, and I will say I am sensitive to medication. I was even before my injections. I've been sensitive to Botox in the past, and had gotten migraines before. And so that should have been my red flag years ago, that like, okay, my body's obviously not liking this, but decided to go through with it anyways, because it kind of, the migraine went away and everything was fine. But I was like, can we not do like, I don't know, 80 units today? Like that, I don't know, like, I'm not sure. I've never gotten that much before. So I was like, to me, like, let's start off with the lowest amount, see what happens. And then I can always come back. So we ended up doing 15 in each, and then 6 above my lip. So 36 units. And I just had this feeling in the pit of my stomach that, and I wish I would have listened to it. I like, looking back at it now, I can remember her standing on my right side with the needle in her hand, with, wiping off my jaw, and something just did not feel right. And I let her do it. And, my right side hurt horribly. Like the injections hurt horribly. And that had never happened to me before, because I'd gotten it before, like in my forehead, and above the lip is a little spicy too. But for some reason, this right side, and I still have pain there. So I don't know if she hit a nerve, and that's, they're injecting blindly. And that is another thing that kind of like freaks me out, is like, there's no way to know if they've hit a nerve, if they've hit a blood vessel. You have your masseters. Right? Your masseters are so vascular. You have a ton of blood vessels in these muscles here, as well as the rest of your face. And there's no way to know, like, if they've hit something. So,
sorry, like, I'm such a baby with needles, so I'm like, oh God, I couldn't.
Yeah. So afterwards, I had no headache, which was surprising. But my jaws were both, so sore. And I remember texting her being like, hey, I don't have a headache. That's great. But like, is it normal? Like, my jaws I feel like I got punched in the mouth. And she's like, yep, that's normal. So I was like, okay, like, all right, let's just roll with it. And then it was exactly 3 days later, December 7th, I woke up and worked out. I waited the right amount of time. You're not supposed to avoid working out for, I think, 24 hours, whatever it is. I waited almost 72, and went downstairs and did my normal workout. Went about my day. We went out to dinner that night, and we were sitting at the bar table, and we were at this like tapas restaurant, me and my fiance, and we're eating food, and I'm like chewing my food, and I'm like, wow, like I'm really having a hard time swallowing. And he's like, what? And I'm like, yeah, something's not right. Like I don't know. I'm like, maybe I'm getting a cold or a virus, or this is maybe like the start of a sore throat. I was like, try not to like
Think about it.
extrapolate and like go off into another world, because that guy can easily do that.
Same.
And so I'm like, yes, my swallowing feels weird. And so he's like, well, just like, it took me forever to eat my dinner. And I'm like, I'm not making this up. Like, dude, like I'm really having to focus on swallowing. And so we went home, went to bed. And then the next morning I woke up, and I remember I was kind of laying on my side, and I went to lift my arm, and it felt like a ton of bricks.
Oof.
And I'm like trying to lift my arm. I'm like, oh my God. And so I like wake up my fiance, and I'm like, something's wrong. And he was like, well, okay, what's going on? And he's a physician. So like, we're not the type of people. So like nurse, physician, like we're not the type of people that we're like, we're going to call 911 right away. Like, no, we're going to talk about this for a second. Like,
I have
figure
a
out what's
hiccup,
going
and I'm
on.
like, ah!
Yeah. Yeah. On like WebMD, like, am I dying?
Yes. That's usually my go-to. It's really good for the anxiety. Really good.
That was me pre my fiance. But, so I told him, I said, my arms and my legs are just like dead weight. And like, I can remember like laying on the bed and like, just like going like this with my arms, and they were so fucking heavy. And I'm like, shit, something's wrong. And he's like, well, don't think, let's not rush into assumptions here. Like, it could be a bunch of things, maybe you're just stressed out or whatever. And yeah, from the workout. And I'm like, okay, like, all right.
Yeah.
So the day went on, and like the symptoms continued. Like I was still having issues swallowing. And then more and more symptoms started to come. So by Sunday, it was, now I had this like weird, like nasal congestion. My ears were clogged, headache. I had chest pain, heart palpitations, including it literally felt like my body weighed like 1,000,000 pounds. And, so I texted my injector, and I was like, hey, I know it's a Sunday, but like, I'm having all these symptoms, like something's wrong. And her response was, it's not the Botox. So you need to go to a doctor.
Just immediate.
Immediately no. Immediately no. Like
immediately no. Okay.
No conversation back and forth. It's not the Botox.
Sure.
So you need to go to your doctor and get it figured out. And my fiance and I were like, we're not going to the emergency room, because like they're not going to know what to do.
No.
And we both had, that thought of, well, this could be the Botox, and what exactly does it mean? So here's us, on the computer doing some research. I found the Botox side effects Facebook group, joined that, and I'm reading through everything, and I'm like, oh my God, I have botulism. And we weren't really sure what to do. I mean, my symptoms weren't severe. I wasn't in respiratory distress. I wasn't having paralysis, but I was fucking scared. I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen now. What do I do?
Yeah.
And so my fiance is like, well, let's just go to your primary care doctor tomorrow and see what they say. Like, maybe this will just, I've heard of like people having like the Botox flu, where like symptoms will last for like 3 to 4 days or something like that. And I'm like, maybe that's just what this is. And then like in a few days, I'm going to be fine. Like I've had Botox how many times? Like I was like trying to like talk myself. I'm like, you're going to be fine. I'm healthy. Like this is no big deal. Like this is going to be fine. Yeah. So when I woke up Monday morning and it was like nothing had changed, I'm like, okay, get on the phone with my doctor. I'm like, I need to be seen by someone like today. Like I had Botox injections. Something's not right. Like I think that I may have had, an adverse event happen from the injections, and I need someone to see me. Mm-hmm. And I got in and I saw my nurse practitioner she's known me for years. She's always seen me. And she walks in and she literally like this, I can't even I wish I could make this shift. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, feel like I'm dying, legitimately feel like I'm dying. Like I'm not even exaggerating. Like it took every ounce of effort for me to drive into my car to get to sit there. And she walks in and she's all like cheerful. And she's like, well, you don't look like you're sick. She's like, you look cute. And I was like,
Like,
She's like, I was expecting you to be like chipmunk face swollen, like something. And I was just like, I couldn't even get a smile out of myself. Like, and she's
because
like, well, I was thinking like you had like an allergic reaction and you were going to be all swollen. And I'm like, I don't know what's happening. I'm having a reaction. I just don't know what it is. And so I said, she sits down and then I proceed to tell her exactly the same thing that I said to everyone here, exactly what I had done, where I got injected, what product, how many units, blah, 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 the symptoms I've been having. And she's like, well, maybe you're having an allergic reaction. And I'm like, it seems kind of late to have an allergic reaction because
yep,
typically those happen
right
within
away.
minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's
that's
scary.
from what I understand. Yeah. And that does happen to people too. But
Yep.
no, here I'm now how many days? 5 days out? 6 days out?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 6 days out.
Yeah. Seems like
And
a poisoning more than anything.
seems to me, and I said, well, I've read the label on the warning, the black box warning, and I'm checking off a lot of symptoms. My eyes are dry, my mouth is dry, I'm having muscle weakness, I'm having blurry vision, blah, blah, blah. And she gets on her computer and she's typing, botulism. And I'm like, oh, dear God. So this is our medical system
Where
when
we're
they have a
Googling.
patient that comes in where we're Googling what things are and we don't know what to do. And I would have very much appreciated maybe if she would have even been like, I don't know what this is and I don't know how to treat you, but let me try and find someone I can send you to that's going to be able to help you.
Mm-hmm.
She could have at least contacted the CDC or the FDA or the community or like our city's health department or the state health department. So she's like, well, I can give you some steroids to take because I think that this is an allergic reaction and you can take the steroids and go home. And after everything I read on the Botox side effect group, I'm like, I have botulism. Okay. Like
Don't add.
I have iatrogenic botulism here, lady. Like read the warning label. Like you can look at all the side effects. I can check them all. Perfect A student on the black box warning here.
Yeah. Not good enough.
And that was kind of it. So I was furious. And I'm like, well, I guess I'm doing this myself because again, reached back out to my injector and she's like, well, then you need to go to the ER because something else is going on. And I was like, how could this not be from the Botox? I'm a perfectly healthy 32-year-old, never had any medical history, was on birth control and a prescription for my acid reflux.
Yeah. So it's like, this is what I don't get. Everyone's like, well, you must have had something that it just kickstarted. Okay, but it fucking kickstarted it. So if let's just play the game. Let's play the game.
Yeah.
That it wasn't Botox, but something already happened and maybe that triggered it. Wouldn't we want other people to know that? Because it can happen to them too. Like, okay, so, and? Cool. Like, every excuse that people come up to, I'm like, okay, but and? Why can't we still talk about it? Why can't we talk about someone's experiences, their side effects, so that luckily, like, how amazing is it that you have like a person beside you that is very well equipped for that. Majority of people, especially up here in Canada, can't even get to a doctor. So they're like, oh, just go to the doctor. Oh, is it okay? Oh, sure. Like, and then, like you said, you go there and then they're going to Google it, which I did. But if I say, hey, I Googled it and this is what I think it is, y'all discredit me. But a doctor does it and we're like, oh, we believe the doctor. Like, I get it. There's bad information out there. But at what point when you see a bunch of women your age with the same thing start having the same reactions, when does that stop being a coincidence, I wonder? Like, is there a threshold, perhaps? Is it 5, 100, a million?
Who knows?
I would like to know because we're going to have 6 of you by the end of this one season. So,
yeah.
How are
There's more. There's just more that haven't come out of the woodworks yet or, aren't brave enough or are, for whatever reason, don't want to share their story because you're putting yourself in a very vulnerable position doing this. And there's going to be people that will troll you and tell you that you're fear mongering or you're lying or that this, that, and the other thing, that this can't happen and it's really rare. When in reality, it's probably not as rare as people think it is. I think it just truly gets underreported or people are not correlating their symptoms. They're not thinking, maybe had I never found the Botox group, I would have gone down a different route like so many other women have gone down. Maybe I have an autoimmune thing going on. Maybe this stress, maybe like it's just like it could be just like a million different things. And I think that that's where this is getting caught up in. And I pray that like I feel like more and more women are coming out and men are coming out and sharing their stories from this. And like that needs to happen. And like this is why I'm doing it. And it's like, if I can do it, trust me, like you can too. Like I'm not like someone that wants to, be in a super vulnerable position all the time, or like, share my story and then have to deal with the backlash from other people. But like, I feel like it's now my due diligence to share this and tell you I am a real person. I'm educated. Like, I'm a nurse. I know how the system works, and I can tell you like how broken this is right now. Like this is fucked. This is fucked.
It is.
Like, royally fucked, because I did everything that I could, given, and there's other women who, don't have the same background knowledge that I do. I played the hell out of the system those first couple days, because I was like, I'm going to do everything. And I swear to God, I was like, if I figure this out, I'm going to share it with everyone, because I broke my heart reading hundreds and thousands of stories in that Facebook group of women who are suffering and don't know what to do. And that's exactly, unfortunately, I'm still there. I'm almost 6 months out, and I'm still there. I still don't know what to do. I still can't find people to help me figure out what's going on, because you have your initial symptoms. And just to backtrack a little bit, I left my primary care doctor and I contacted all these different people. My injector was useless, so I tossed her to the side, because I'm like, if you're not going to help me, move out of my way. Was kind of mine and my fiance's kind of stance. Like, get out of our way, because we're going to figure this out. We don't need you then. No. Contacting the FDA, and that's where you file, even, Botox and other medications included. That is the center that you go and call. And you can do it online, or you can phone in, and you report adverse effects to medications. And the person that I was talking to was actually shocked. She's like, "You're not the injector?" I said, "I'm the patient." She's like, "How did you get this far?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm a nurse. So, and I'm going to advocate the hell out of myself, because no one else is going to do it for me so far. It seems like in the first, how many hours we've, we're almost a week now. Not one person has been like, let me figure this out. Like, my God, like, this is scary. Like, what if this is truly botulism? Like, we need to, like, no one was doing that. And even when I called my local health department, they're like, "What is botulism?" And I was like, what do you mean? I'm like,
what are you saying?
You sound like my primary care physician.
Are these run by kindergartners? Like, Jesus Christ.
So I contact the state health department, and they're like, I got to talk to the person so there's at the state health department, and the way that this works. So there is one remedy that you can receive if you have botulism. Usually it's only in foodborne cases. This is how it's been used. And it's strict. So there's something called antitoxin, and it's strictly controlled by the federal government, because in the potential of biochemical warfare, it has to be strictly regulated, because that's how dangerous this toxin is that it's, the antitoxin for it is regulated by our federal government. Like, things I did not know, and I learned along the way, and I just was shocked.
And it's like, they don't want you to know that information, because everyday people can put that together.
Wouldn't that scare the shit out of you?
A little bit. Yeah, I mean, hey man, I found Gretchen in 2021 when I fell down my breast implant illness hole, because I have no boobs, and I've always been like, I need breast implants, but I'm like scared of surgeries. And then I found BII, and then that brought me to Gretchen. I was like, oh my God. So I've been like 2021, I've been blown away that people are actually like now trying to make neurotoxin a positive word and a marketing word. And I'm like, my girlfriend messaged me. She's like, Brandy, this says toxin though. Like, that's a negative thing. Why is my brain trying to flip this into a positive thing with this marketing? And I was like, that's really how it's been. Like, when you said the pressure's there, it's there. Like, I'm 38, elder millennial here. Never had an injection because I'm scared of needles. I know. But like, it's injectable needles, right? Injectable needles have scared me. Thank goodness. I was a past drug addict, so I'm glad that injectables are scary for me across the board, but I understand, because I would do the same thing. But I found this shit before, and it was like, even in my darkest moments, I think, okay, maybe I'll do it. Maybe I'll just do a little bit. My 11s, I have good Harry Potter lines here, man. I work in Excel all day. But then I think of you guys, and I'm just like, absolutely not, because I'm the kind of girly that reacts. And I don't want that. Like, so like, it does make a difference sharing your story. It does make a difference, and you are making a difference. Like, I do want you to know that, like, 2021 is when I found out, and I have been fighting that inner dialogue, and now it's not even an inner dialogue anymore. I'm actually
Yeah.
like celebrating them on the inside. I'm like, look at those smile lines. It's because your friends are fucking hilarious and so are you. And like, you know, like think
Yeah.
about my friends that didn't live past 25. Like they wouldn't care about their wrinkle lines. Like it really does help you reframe your brain so you don't have to be marketed.
Yeah.
But the marketing is insane, dude. I feel for
No, it is.
Gen Z. I feel for them with this whole skincare push and this baby Botox push. Like
Yep.
that's why we need to speak out more and more as elders of that generation of, you know, social media. I think we really do need to swallow some of that like pride or ego and just speak what happens because we've all been there. I got fucked by birth control. We all have our things, right? Or all things where we go, hold on, that was safe and effective. Wait, hold on. It wasn't for me. And then people are like, well, it's been around forever. There's so many people that don't react on birth control, on Botox with breast implants. Are they though? We can't say that we're all okay and then say that we're not reacting to things. Or are we, as women, do we push that down and say, oh, it's because I've worked out so hard. Oh, I'm tired. I'm stressed out. Meanwhile, the Botox is making you squirrely.
Yeah.
That's how I see it. Is that fair to say?
For sure. I mean, and like I said, after I spoke with, you know, the FDA and my state health department and the CDC, and they're like, no one, I got to talk to like the botulism expert at my state health department. And all she said to me was like, you don't qualify for antitoxin. And the only thing you can do is wait.
Time. Yeah.
And like, I don't understand. I just think about that conversation and like how differently that would have went had I maybe demanded it, even though in a roundabout way, I was kind of demanding, you know, answers of some kind or like, what do I do from here? And she's like, you know, I would be the person that, you know, if you went into the ER that they would have to talk to, you know, in order for you to receive this antitoxin treatment. She's like, you just don't meet the criteria. And I'm like, how?
Yeah.
How do I not? Like, you're telling me I have botulism. You're telling me that I had an exposure to the toxin from the Botox injections. And now you're telling me to wait.
And it's not enough.
To see what happens.
Like, not good enough. What's good enough?
Like, wait and see until I can't walk, or wait until the point I can't swallow. And that's what happened. This is what has happened to a lot of people in this group and a lot of women that I have met, is that they have been in the same position I was, went through the same type of protocols. Some of them even went to the ER and there's nothing we can do unless you are becoming paralyzed or you stop breathing. That's when you'll receive the treatment. And that's fucked up.
That's messed
like,
up.
To me, that's not okay. Like, in my head, I think about it so often that I'm like, I should have received the antitoxin. I just think about like how different my life might be right now had I received that, and had all these other women who have been affected and men that have been affected by this too. Like, had this just been like a universal thing where if you receive Botox injections and then you get those specific set of side effects, because we all have them in some varying degree, then you should be eligible for antitoxin. 100%. And it just blows my mind that like injectors and physicians, they don't know this. They can't give it to you if it happens. And like, maybe people are under the impression that, like, all right, well, like, you know, just like with filler, like if my filler gets fucked up, I'm going to go in and get it dissolved and everything will be fine. Botox does not work the same way. If something gets fucked up, you have to wait unless you are under severe respiratory distress. You can't breathe, you can't swallow, your legs are paralyzed, your arms are paralyzed. No one is going to help you. And that is the cold hard truth, and it's not okay.
And that's why I'll fight for you guys, because that's such bullshit, man.
It is like, I'm like, is my life not worth that? And and then, you know, so then you sit there and it's like, you're like floundering. You're like, how is this even possible that I got injected by a drug and no one knows what to do when I'm coming to you with the side effects that are clearly labeled on the back of the fucking box? I can show you the back of the fucking box and I'm meeting every single one of them. No one knows what to do. How is this drug on the market?
And that's my question.
It's crazy for me. It's crazy for me to say that because I'm a nurse. Like, I got injections for years. I recommended it to family and friends. I'm like, it's safe. I've never met anyone that has a problem.
Totally. The
government says it's safe. You know, everyone gets it for migraines, and if you sweat too much, or you can get it anywhere, it's safe. Like, this is what's being pushed out, and it's just, everything is fine until it's not.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that everyone is playing a game of roulette every time you inject yourself with this. I saw on Instagram, there was one of the actresses from Selling Sunset. She got injected with like 300 units of Botox
There's the
in
hole.
one sitting. In one sitting.
Her body
And
must
she got
hate
it.
her.
She got it all over, including her feet. She got it injected into the bottom of her feet. It's supposed to
I'm
like,
worried about my feet.
it's called like Louboutin tox or something. I swear to God, I'm not even making this shit up. I
I
like my
want out of
mouth
here.
dropped. My mouth dropped. I was like,
aliens, take us away from here. I'm done. I'm over it. I'm done. No. I heard one.
And I'm just like,
I heard one that they put them in their lips, but not their upstairs lips. Why is that a thing?
oh,
Why? Like, is it just like any body part we're gonna do that? Like, honestly, I mean this in the
that is
kindest way,
insane.
and I'm not taking away from anybody, but it's just like, at what point do we really reevaluate where we've gone too far? We've put so much worth into that, right? Where you're putting yourself at extreme risks. And this is where I've always struggled with it being women empowerment. I don't know how it's women empowerment for me to look at you and go, girl, get your 11s done.
Yeah.
I'm going to look at you, and especially in these days and age, when I see someone, their expressions, I literally just want to cry and give them a hug, because I know what they're going through too, right? Because it's like, and same, and people that don't, because the pressure's there for all of us. It's just some of us are scared, and some of us know, like, I'm just a person from birth control. I react to everything. So even in my mind, I'm like, okay, let's just get it. I'm like, even without knowing this, my mind's like, I have to really think about that before I take anything, because my body is so sensitive to everything. And it's just like you said, with Botox, you can't reverse it. You can't, it's not like a pill that you're just taking that you just stop taking. Right. And so it's like people should be able to do whatever they want with informed consent, and a product should have something to counter it if it has risks or side effects. I think that should just be the rule. Like, it shouldn't exist unless it's like on the black market, do what you want. But like,
I think it kind of is a rule, but I don't understand how like we're getting away with this and how this has been
good point.
going on. And I just wish like, I don't know, like I was talking to Gretch about this. I'm like, I just wish that these stories would be the ones in the news, because I think that right there would cause the most change. Because when people see these stories about, people getting counterfeit Botox and getting sick, they're like, oh, cool. Like, I go to my plastic surgeon, and wherever, and he uses, Dysport or Botox, and he's the best in the country, and whatever. Like, I'm good.
Yeah.
And
until
you're not, because it doesn't matter. And I just wonder how things would change if stories like this would be the ones making the news.
Yeah.
Because people might think differently when you have people who are completely healthy going in for injections to reputable people, reputable products, and getting extremely sick from them. And this isn't just like, I was told very, very on in the beginning by a couple neurologists who kind of gaslit me and kind of blew me off.
Of course.
If it is the Botox, it'll be out of your system in 3 to 4 months.
Oh, talk to the people that have been suffering for years.
Here I am later, past the 3-4 month mark, still sick. And the unfortunate thing is, like, you can look at me and other girls who have been on here and you're like, oh, you look fine, but
doesn't matter.
It's not the case. Like, there's a lot of things under the surface that are happening. And, I've developed so many symptoms from this that, like, it's just like every day still there's like, some things have gone away, some new things will pop up. And there's just like this like plethora of symptoms that kind of wax and wane. And it's just like this roller coaster of, you never know how you're going to feel when you wake up. You never know what you're going to react to today. I was terrified to put makeup on for months because I was having all of these like weird reactions. And a lot of us have developed, some sensitivities to smells and fragrances, and
caffeine.
Like, I can't burn candles. I have caffeine. My diet was like chicken and rice at one point. Like, I couldn't, like, everything was making me flush and have heart palpitations and headaches and dizziness. And I'm still in the midst of this struggle of trying to figure out exactly what is going on with my body. And it's so frustrating because I've been to, I don't know how many different specialists at this point, and still no one can exactly tell me what exactly is going on.
Yeah.
They have thoughts, and a lot of them are like, well, I don't really think it's the Botox. It should be out of your system by now. And I don't know. No one can really tell you. Like, that's the sad thing about this, is that, you'll get, if you get sick from this, they'll say 3 to 4 months, but that's not the case typically.
I haven't heard
And
many
there's
people.
like medical articles out there. There's one in particular. If anyone's interested, you can DM me and I'll send it to you, or I'll email it to you. From a neurologist back in 2016 that studied a case of like 16 people, and years later they're still not back to pre-Botox injections. So this is absolutely understudied, in my opinion, and has left a community of people suffering with not much help and not very many answers on what exactly is going on in their body, because it's just not studied, and there's just not a lot of information. And that's kind of where I'm at now. And it's fucked up because it's taken a lot of my life away from me. Like, my quality of life just like plummeted from December of last year. And I'm just now, slowly starting to be able to do things as simple as, walk into a store, or, walk around the block with my dog, or drive my car, because I didn't do those things for quite some time. And I think that, no, I didn't know what was going on. I, still have been going to a ton of different specialists. I mean, I've seen like primary care, neurology, immunology, allergist, a mast cell specialist. I'm going to see a dysautonomia specialist. Who else have I fucking seen? Like, I just like,
trying
it's just
to roll
like,
it all out.
trying to like, just figure out, like, I understand like what happened to me is irreversible at this point, but like, there has to be something that someone can do to try and help these symptoms. And I just have not found that. And that's just kind of like where I'm at now, is I'm like throwing the kitchen sink at this, trying to do everything I possibly can to try and feel somewhat better. And if like shit, like if I can figure out like some type of combination or something to do, like I want to share it with everyone. But from, I've made a lot of friendships from the group, and it's just like everyone seems to kind of be in the same place. And I think unfortunately the only thing that anyone has found helpful is just time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so fucked up, because like, how do you tell someone that feels like, even just this past week, like I don't know, I literally felt like I was dying again. Like, I felt like day 3 of injections, and I have no idea what I did.
Yeah, what you did.
And like we're talking like
sweating too hard one day.
Like, yeah, we're talking like 5 months out, and I have no idea what happened and why all of a sudden I felt like complete shit again. Mm-hmm. It's just, it's sad. And this is why I think so many people should hear this, is because this isn't like some cute little thing that's going to go away overnight or in 3 to 4 months. Like, you're likely going to have problems for a while, and you're not going to have a doctor say, you're going to take this pill and you're going to be fine, or we're going to do this surgery and you're going to be fine, or, this is the protocol for how you treat this and everything's going to be okay. You don't have anyone telling you that. You have everyone saying, I don't know what's wrong with you. I don't know how to fix this.
Pass it off.
I can't even tell you how many blood tests, all different types of testing I've done that have pretty much come back normal.
That's the worst part, is everything. They're like, well, you're back normal. And instead, you just look and you're normal. But like that a medical professional could look at someone and say, you look fine. That's a huge red flag to me, because my mom actually has fibromyalgia. I grew up, she was diagnosed when she was like 25, and I was like maybe 7 or 8. And I've had to watch my mom go through debilitating pain. No one can ever tell her what's wrong. And so she just tries to get through life. It's been her whole life. And then people are like, well, you look fine. And she's like, yeah, I'm screaming on the inside, but I just don't want to bitch every single day of every single of my life and ruin everybody else's life. But again, no one can tell her what's wrong. It's all in her head. It's all of that. And then I'm watching her physically, like her wanting to do these things, and she can't. It frustrates me so much when people say that, because it's like, as a medical professional, you should know that not everything is going to be visible on the outside. And like, if your body is freaking out, sometimes it's very apparent on the outside with inflammation and all that.
Right.
But that doesn't always mean it. Like, I'm sorry, when people have the onset of cancer, do you just know it by looking at them?
Right.
no. So just sit there and say, oh, you look fine. It's like, cool. Well, you don't feel what's in me. And like,
Right.
and to that point, you're usually trying to cope and not show that you're hurting. People are just programmed to not show that they're weak. Like, it's just a thing that passed down through time, right? So they always try to be strong and no one wants to hear it, or I'm making it up. And like, then you're having people that are supposed to be professionals essentially making you feel like you're making it up. Then it makes you feel actually crazy. And my point is, like, people that are saying we're fear mongering, like you said, had you not had that group, and a lot of the girls echo this as well, you wouldn't be where you are today. Some of them, it took almost a year to find the group where they're having strokes and all these things. And people are like, well, we don't know why. At least the thought of, hey, maybe it is the Botox and it is going to be time, at least is something to hold on to. Something that gives you hope, instead of just being like, we don't know, pass off to the next person. I'm going to Google this. It's like, okay, so you went to school and got all the information to Google stuff? Aren't you like, shouldn't you continually, I understand GPs, I guess, like primaries, I'm sure they can't hit every topic, but like, that's where you hit these specialists. And like the fact that the specialists, like the neurologists, are just like, we don't know, that's the one that scares me a little bit. What do you mean? Doesn't it break the blood-brain barrier? Doesn't that hit then in neurology's area? Okay, college, not drop out here.
So. Yes, you're right.
Like, why aren't we learning this? Like, and even just too, gut health specialists. Like, even at my level, I know that like your emotions can hurt your gut. So it's like, we're injecting a poison. We don't think that that's not going to go somewhere and upset things. Even if we eat something wrong, our bellies could give us anxiety. What are you talking about? But injecting a poison, there's no way that does it.
Yeah.
What? I can't. And then the reason people like me, which is so great that you're educated in this, and I think, like, girl, honestly, I hate to say this, but I do think this is going to be your purpose, is helping people through this and being able to hold that badge of education. Because what I get told, well, you don't understand science. You're not a scientist. You're not a nurse. You're not a doctor. You don't understand.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't need to be a fucking moron to look at all these people saying that they have the same thing and the only thing they can link it back to is something they injected. If they all took a medication, you'd be like, oh, it was the medication they took. Why can't we say this for Botox?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's attached to what? Like, appearance?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like, if anything, medical people should be pissed.
Or a billion-dollar industry.
And that's where I come from. So where's the women empowerment, right? Like, is it really saying spend all this money and put yourself at risk because me looking at you, you need to change? No, I don't think you need to change at all. Please don't, actually. Like, I don't know, just please don't. I mean, do whatever you want, but do it with informed consent. And injectors, do whatever you want, but inform your people. If your product is so great and it's not harmful, then why can't you tell this stuff?
Yeah. And that's kind of like the biggest point to make with all of this, is like, do whatever you want. And I get it, like, people get it for migraines and it's changed their life, and like, I understand that, and you got to weigh the pros and the cons, and but you also do, like, I don't think these people are truly being told the truth though either. So they're saying that it's safe, and then, like, you know, what I've heard a lot of the times is like, well, the worst thing that can happen is like it'll hit a different muscle and you might have like a spocked brow, or your eyelid might droop for a few months, or, you know, like that was the extent of like the warning that I got, you know. And
you don't see it,
consent,
right?
No,
you don't see it, so you're like, that doesn't happen then, so it's not happening,
right?
But
so
like, you don't see the inner stuff,
like, no. But yeah, I wish that there was more spread of people coming out with stories like this, because I truly think that is going to be the one thing that sticks with people the most, because anyone can, you know, read an article about, you know, a bunch of, you know, people that got sick, and it doesn't really hit as hard as when you can actually physically see someone that's telling their story and saying, you know, this is exactly what happened to me, and I was healthy before and I really wasn't informed, and it absolutely can happen to you. Because that is the truth. That
first
is the
injection,
unfortunate truth.
And it could be first injection, it could be 100th, right? Like, we've had like Laura was her first time, and Amanda, yourself, and Stephanie have been doing it for, I think it was 10 years. She said you said you're about 7. I think Amanda was around the same amount of time, and I'm sure the other girls that come on, it doesn't. And that's the unfortunate thing. It's just like with certain diseases, like let's say cancer, it doesn't care if you're a mom, it doesn't care if you're doing it medically. And I'm the same way. I get a lot of time, well, I use it medically. that's all good, babe, but it still comes with the same potential risks. And if you've outweighed
same
that,
toxin.
exactly,
Yeah.
it doesn't really matter where you do. And off label scares me a little bit more. And sure, maybe there's a lot of
Yeah.
people that had good experiences, but please don't discredit. You're missing a piece of the formula here. You hear the good things, you don't see the bad things equals good, but there is a place of people that get pushed down, trolled, gaslit. You know, I get it too. Oh, you're just jealous. Jealous of what? I could go and get Botox tomorrow. I'm not jealous of people getting it. I am broken every fucking story I've heard since being in that group since 2021, because there are people that I've brought to that group that have been thinking about it. Now they're like, absolutely fucking not. And you see that on your stories, on your live that you did with Gretchen. You've seen so many people being like, thank you so much for saying this, for sharing this. Like, of course there's trolls, but remember, at the end of the day, that's just people's words and opinions, and you are mirroring something to them. So deep down inside, I think that they know that maybe it's not exactly the safest thing, but they don't want to confront whatever's pushing them to get it. So it's just so much easier to say, that bitch is crazy. Is her own personal thing. And we all do it, man. I've done it too. Like, I was gonna say, like, fuck, I haven't got tattoos since I fell down these rabbit holes too. Cause I'm like, if I got tattooed, I really need to be sure that I've outweighed the risk. Maybe that's why I was so fucking anxious while I was getting my sleeve in a complete mental mess. Maybe it was the environment, but I've not taken it off the table, even though I would love to be head to toe. Now I'm like, I really got to weigh that risk now that I'm actually informed. Right. And so it's like, the only way to get information right now is by you guys sharing your stories and your experiences, and people like us that haven't had that to honor that, boost it, support you. Like, I just don't get people that come in and like, oh, that never happened. Shut up. It does. Like, how does it hurt you? And I guess I was going to go back is one quick thing is like, how does it hurt people to hold off on Botox? How is it hurting people to say, maybe just wait a little bit, learn a little bit more, like really try to figure out why you're getting this? Like, how is that hurting anybody? I just like to know. Apparently that's the worst thing we can do. We're not for women. We're not for women empowerment. We're haters. And it's like, okay, no, I'm not.
No, I think everyone has their own, obviously, free will to do whatever it is that they want. And I'm sure that there's people that are on my social media platforms that are still going to do it. And none of my immediate family or friends will ever do it again now. And there's been so many people that have messaged me and been like, I'm never doing it again. Or like, I will never do it now because your story. And I was like, that's exactly why I shared, because maybe had I seen something like that, someone that I knew as a person, I've physically seen them in person, and they're coming on these platforms and they're being vulnerable and they're sharing their story and they're being like, look, this is real. Look, this can happen. Maybe it would have changed my mind. Or maybe I would have thought more about it or done more research or been like, should I really be doing this? What is this product really, what are the real side effects? What are, I think that is so important to anything that you have done. Like you said, with tattoos too, everything comes with a risk.
Totally.
And especially things that are as toxic and as harmful as Botox, there needs to be so much more education from whoever is injecting it and whoever is considering of receiving it or receiving it. You should know the ins and the outs of exactly what it is you are putting into your body and what exactly can happen. Because
so you can act. That's all. We just want to plant seeds.
Everyone can do what they want, but what I've been through the past 5 months and how hard it is and like what it has taken away from me, like my ability to function a normal day-to-day life. Like I can't do my hot yoga and hot Pilates anymore. Like that was my life. Like I was a very the people who know me and who watch this, know me as a person, know that I am the most pre-Botox, the most vivacious, funny, witty, outgoing, just goofy kind of person. And I've just become a shell of myself going through this, because it just has destroyed a huge piece of my life. And it's scary because I don't know when and if I'm ever going to get that back. And if you think about that and you think about your life and the state that it is now, and if everything's good and you're healthy, you are so lucky. You don't realize how lucky you are when you have your health, because when it's taken from you, it's the only thing you want, and it becomes the only thing that matters. Right now, that's why we canceled our wedding, and that's why we postpone building our house because that shit doesn't fucking matter. If you do not feel good and if you do not have your health, none of that shit matters. I'm telling you, it does not fucking matter. And that is like the biggest thing is that I can say is that like I wouldn't wish this upon anyone. This is a living nightmare, and there are plenty of other testaments that you can find on this podcast. You can find it on the Botox side effects group on Facebook. There's a group on Instagram called Never Talks. There's stories shared on there, including another live from me. There are women out there who are sharing their story that is real, that is raw, that is honest. We are not making this up. No one's sitting here paying me to do this. Like this is, I'm not some like anti-toxin group. Like this is me, Kaley, telling you like I wouldn't wish this on anyone because I'm, like I said, I'm over 5 months out and I'm still not better. And this has drastically changed my life and the dynamic of my relationships and what I can do on a daily basis. And it's just, this is not my life that I would want to live. This is not my quality. Like I said, my quality of life has just gone downhill. Like people take for granted, like getting up in the morning and having a cup of coffee or going out to dinner and enjoying their favorite meal or being able to work out in whatever capacity that they want to. You don't realize how like important and lucky you are to be able to do those things until you can't do them anymore. Absolutely. So
it's a privileged
place.
I
want to tell everyone is that
it's a privileged place.
It is.
To say like
a privilege.
Yeah. And to say like, when people say, well, that didn't happen to me and I do this and it didn't happen to me. That's where I'm not a person that likes to play any sort of cards, but that's where I kind of like to say like, yo, just because you haven't doesn't mean you're not gonna, like, I don't fuck with karma, y'all. Like, I believe in God. I'm not very religious, but I believe in karma and I believe in energetic good and bad. And you keep dismissing people on their experiences. Don't be surprised if down the road you're going to be faced with that lesson. Not saying that's why everyone does, but like, don't discredit it, because won't it suck one day when it's on your doorstep and it's hurting you and you would have wished that people like this would stand in your corner. That's why I just don't dismiss people's experiences, right? Like I'm not going to go around and say every single person that gets Botox is going to have poisoning. But what I will say is every single person is susceptible to being a victim of it or something, or having a reaction, regardless if you had something beforehand, whether you were on the path. Like, you know, in the comment section, I always see things like, oh, well, did they leave a healthy life? Or, oh, they were on Botox and then they went and took this after. Like one of the girls, one lady, I actually had to block her. I'm not usually a blocker, but she was really aggressive.
Blocked.
You're blocked. Like it was like paragraphs. Like I'm new to TikTok, so I can only write like 50 words. She was writing me paragraphs and she was going off like, you know, you're calling Botox out, but you went and took Xanax after. Yeah, girly, because she didn't know what the fuck was going on with her and everyone was telling her she was having a panic attack. So she got prescribed Xanax, so she took it. Oh, well, you just would do that, but then you're calling out Botox. None of these girls knew that. They're just trying to figure out, oh, I'm having a stroke. I'm having anxiety. I'm having this. Nothing. You're just panicking. Like, they were misled. You guys have been misled so many ways. It's like, how can you even come at anybody for how they tried to heal from this? Like, we know that this could be a thing. Let's have a conversation. And to your point, why is there only an anti-venomous, like whatever, anti-potion, whatever, that is guarded by them so, like, tightly? Couldn't we, like, at this point, I think we'd be smart enough to make something that's like a little bit lighter that doesn't need to be so regulated to help people with milder, quote unquote, I'm saying that, like, that don't qualify for the heavy one. Why aren't we working on like an antitoxin for those that maybe are just on a lower level? Like, you have something, it's hurting people. Can we please have something to counteract it? If you're not going to give them informed consent, can you at least try and help them? But it's just like, how does this benefit anybody by discrediting you guys?
That's what's happening.
Where does it hurt? The only place it hurts people by sharing this are people that make money off of it. Period.
Yeah. 100%. Or people who get it and defend it till the day that they die. But honestly, like, you know, I defended it too until I got sick. I mean, I never thought it would happen to me because I had nothing wrong with me. I was healthy. I was getting it done and nothing was happening besides my migraines, and they went away, and I was like, cool, I can get this done. I'm healthy. Like, nothing's going to happen until it does. And then you're stuck with it. And then you truly start to see other people when they share their stories, it changes your perspective.
In all
because
avenues too, right?
yeah,
Not just
yeah,
with
you're not,
Botox.
no,
Yeah.
no, you're not invincible to side effects of any medication or any sort of procedure or surgery or injection or whatever, tattoos, whatever. You're not, no one is 100% safe from anything, even if it's being pushed out that it is. There's always a risk with anything. And especially something as dangerous as this. I just wish it was taken more seriously. And I think it's going to have to, for real change to occur. And I hope that in the coming years that more and more women feel comfortable to come out and share their stories. And I hope that it just would be amazing if like things like this would just get like out into the news somehow and like mass spread across countries and the United States and Canada or wherever else, where, Botox is prevalent across the whole entire world.
Yeah.
And it just would be amazing if like stories like this would be the ones that like were brought out and brought to the news and people could see them and be like, shit, this is happening to real people.
But it doesn't, it's like, I don't know what it is. It will eventually, because I feel like it's like we're on the same path as breast implant illness. Go back 10 years ago, and it's kind of where Botox illness is speaking out now, where there's a handful of people. We didn't have as much social media now, and that's exacerbated everyone being able to get that information. So like it is moving in a positive direction, I feel. But what I would just love with people that get it is just not to discredit people's stories, right? It's like you could say you've had, of course, share your experience. You've had a positive one. Awesome. That's great. That's great. But when someone's sharing their bad experience, you should also listen to them too, because you need all sides of the spectrum here to know, to go into it with truly informed consent, right? Like, do you understand what it could do? Do you understand? And mainly for me, I just want people to know so that they're not stuck in this spiral of like, what's wrong with me? And then now afraid of everything in their lives, trying to figure out changing their diets entirely, getting off of medications or trying new medications that maybe would affect your symptoms. Or like even some people are like, oh, I have a headache. Well, I went for a massage. Well, some girls are saying that exacerbates your symptoms, right? Like I hope in the coming years, there's more research into it so that there's more support. But I'm just so fucking proud of all of you. Cause like I said, Gretch came on my show in 2021. I was still audio. We were just baby podcast at that point, just audio. And I thought I'm going to start talking about like more, let's say, controversial topics that people host these conversations, get people ready to have these conversations. And Gretch I did breast implant illness, Botox injury, and a vaccine injury, all 3 in a row. I thought, let's just go for it and see what happens. I'm still standing, but the support is there and it's growing. Like, I know it maybe doesn't feel that way, but let me tell you, I have been waiting for girls to come talk to my show. I've never asked. I'm never gonna be like, yo, you want to come talk about your fucked up experience on my show? Because I never wanted to push anybody in Botox, especially because I know it's not linear, right? Like some of the girls I had to reschedule, and I told you, and I was like, you got to reschedule. I understand invisible illness. Like, you could be posting that you had a great day last night, but I know maybe you woke up this morning and you feel like death. I understand that where other people don't, but it's growing. And then all of a sudden, Gretch stepped away for a little bit. And the minute she stepped away, my DMs flooded like that with, we need to fill this gap for a little bit and share our stories. And I was like, I couldn't even get 1 in 3 years. And now I've got 6, you guys. And fuck again, that smile on my face isn't because I'm happy you guys went through that. It's because this is what I've been trying to cultivate and have a platform that people feel comfortable to come and say that and know that even if we post, I'm going to be fighting those trolls with you. Like I'm here. Gretch is here. That whole team is there. And now you guys are like this beautiful fucking unit. And I hate that this happened to all of you guys, but it is going to cause change. You guys are going to make a difference. And that purpose that you were looking for, it's right around the corner once you get through these next, like, I feel like most of the girlies about at a year is when they like, not saying that things stop, but what I've noticed is after a year, people start to have more of their life back with like random triggers, right? So I hope that you get to come out of that. And because of your background, you're going to be that fucking voice closer to that space with the education to say, no, you can't come and tell me I'm not educated, because I am, because that's what a lot of us face. So I do think that your advocacy is going to be the purpose that you have. And I'm so fucking sorry that you're still going through it and that this is how what you had to maybe go through to get there. But I don't think it's going to be in vain. I think that you're going to get more power. That girl's going to come back. That spice is going to come back. But there's going to be like a little bit of anger and like extra fire in there, I think. So like, I'm very excited to see, what the next 6 months to a year has for you in this space, because coming right out of the gate, like and just being honest is going to ripple effect into so many people's lives. You already have
For
this
sure.
podcast, like
For
even
sure.
just to show numbers. So, because I'm a numbers girly, Gretchen's episode in 2021 just hit over 300 over the span of what was that, 4 years, right? The series that I did with Amanda, Steph, and Laura, they're all three together. They're over 400 plays with being played within the month. So
Wow.
that just shows that people are very much open to listening to these conversations, to listening to these experiences, regardless of some trolls and some haters out there. We don't hate people. In fact, I care about you. And I don't want to hear anybody go through this because she's worried about her wrinkles. So I will stand with my wrinkly face and I will show it, and I will show you guys that it's okay. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, let's say that someone comes back to life, right? They've got another chance at life. Do you think that they're going to be like, the first thing I'm going to go do is make sure that I look perfect? Or are they going to live the fuck out of their lives however they are, right? So just remember that there's marketing out there. You're not less than at all. You're fucking beautiful and perfect the way you are. And I just think about the next generation. What are we going to do for Gen Z to turn this around, millennials? Like, what are we going to do for them? Are we going to stand and show them that being yourselves is just good enough? And I'm not saying that that's why everyone got Botox. Okay. I'm not that way, but can we look at how it's affecting the next generation with filters, fillers, Botox, all that kind of stuff? And how
Makeup.
can we makeup? I know, like hey man, I was an early, like I'm an elder millennial, so I don't know how to do my makeup. I cannot contour. I wear mascara. That is it. I would love to learn. And I'm just like, look at some of these 12-year-olds. I'm like, dang, they got a good contour. I can't even put blush on. Like, are we doing blush? Are millennials still doing blush? You know, but I just really feel like when we say that we hate the beauty industry and how it hurts us, we have to fight it too by not living always in it all the time, right? I just think that we can lead by example, and you're leading by example. Let's let the, you know, everyone know that you're like, and if you want to do that, that's fine. Again, totally. But just know
there's a fine line. I think that there's nothing wrong with women wanting to look pretty or beautiful or wanting to do things to enhance themselves. Like, I love makeup, and I was one of those girlies, like, tattoo. I got tattoos too, filler, Botox. Like, I did all the things, and I, you know, extensions, hair extensions, whatever makes you feel good about yourself. Like, I'm all for that, and I'm never gonna sit here and bash someone for doing whatever they want to make them feel good about themselves. Like, I don't think any of the girls, you know, that have shared their stories want to bash anyone who's continuing to do X, Y, Z, whatever. But just be cautious of the reasons why you're doing it, and of course what exactly it is you're putting into your body.
And is it worth it? Is it worth the risk? And if it is, then we're still going to be here to support you regardless. You know, I'm never going to say to anybody like, oh well, you went and got it, so you no. Even if you were informed, I'm still going to be here to support you, because we got to go back to the marketing and to the messaging. And again, of course, if there's some things that you can do to make yourself feel better, but however, can we also talk about alternatives? Can we talk about working with your mindset? Can we talk about all those other things first, so that when you do go and do this, that maybe, because when we grew up, like, quote me if I'm wrong, and I am a little bit older, but like 6 years, but for the most part, it was like 50 or 60-year-old ladies that got Botox. It was like a rich lady thing, like not poor
rich
stoner
old
hippies.
lady,
Like not for me, like no way. And now it's like 20-year-olds are worried about getting wrinkles, and it's just like, please don't be afraid to age, because age is a fucking privilege that not everyone gets to have. And absolutely, we want to be as graceful as possible, but just be mindful that those practices might actually age you faster or put you at risk, right? More. So it's just like what you depend, like, and that's why I said, like, I'm not jealous, because trust me, I have wrinkles everywhere. Like, my 11 is angry. I worked in the oil field, and now I work in cannabis. Okay. Like, we are a new industry and we are crazy. So I get it, but I just want women to not feel like they're less than and they have to put themselves at risk. So just, that's it. And know that it could happen, and that it's not rare, and that not to be gaslit, and you know where to find the girls, right? Now there's a group of you that are just like immediately put their arms around you. I think that's what you guys probably felt, right?
Yeah, I think that community is awesome. And like I said, I've made a lot of friendships with some of the women in that group, and there's, you know, a couple girls that I talk to. We've exchanged gifts and we read books together, and like, you know, there's one that like I talk to on an almost on an almost daily basis, because there's truly no one that understands quite exactly what you're going through, besides the people who are also going through it. So if, you know, there's anyone who's struggling, you know, with a Botox injury, or has gone through something similar. There's a whole group of women out there that are going to be very supportive and very open. And I think almost all of us, I think like if you would literally DM or message any of us on Facebook, we would absolutely respond to you or like give you, like I've talked to so many people on the phone, and I think a lot of people do come to me just because I do have a lot of knowledge about this, and I have spent a lot of time researching it, and just like given like my medical background, like I've done a lot of work and I am aware of a lot of things, and I have been to a lot of doctors, and that's not necessarily a good thing, but I have learned a lot, and I'm willing to share that with other people. But yeah, that community that especially on the Facebook group, the Botox side effects Facebook group is a wonderful place. If you think you've been injured by Botox, yeah, however many months out you are, a week, a day, a year, I still think it's a good resource of information and people who can at least comfort you, if not guide you on, some things that might help you versus some things that you should avoid potentially. Everyone's a little bit different, but I honestly got more information off that group than I did to any single doctor that I ever went to. So, and that's sad to say.
It is. And it's grassroots, right? And so many people are like, oh, it's like, no, but Gretch has a background in science. Like she was a science teacher. Like, it's not like she was just like, she also comes back with education. She researches, she's been doing that. Everybody in that group, and majority of are people that came to the group that are helping others now too, like because somebody got hurt, and it's a really beautiful community. And I encourage people just go there to get informed, because even these 6 stories, there's thousands more of people every day that plow into that, and it's just a good information resource and a good place to see beautiful connections and seeing people jumping into being like, hey, I had this, like, don't stress, and just the beautiful friendships that you guys have made through it is really amazing. But I really appreciate this time. Again, I'm really sorry that this all happened to you, but I'm really stoked that immediately you're going to turn around and seek for justice for other people and advocate for yourself. I think that's a big part of your story is, even if you're not a nurse, you got to fucking do it. And you just knew because of what you've seen, right? So you're like, no, I know I got to do this, but some people don't think that they can, but you can, you have to.
You absolutely can.
And you were a great resource to go and lean off of, to be like, girl, how do I do this? Like, how do I make sure that, this gets recorded at the FDA, this gets brought into that more information is right. And like, to your point, encourage anybody with a story. I'm open. My DMs are open, y'all. I just don't podcast for like, send them to me, because it seems to be like, I'll just make a side podcast on Botox Injury is what it seems like. And I hate that, but I love it at the same time, because that getting more conversations started, it's warning more people. So again, thank you so much for sharing your story today. Is there anything you missed that you want to add? Like any words of wisdom that we might have missed today?
If I haven't already said enough, like,
no, you've done amazing.
No, I think that we kind of covered it, that this is a real thing and it absolutely can happen to you. Do your research, know what you're putting into your body. Please, like this, I wouldn't wish this on anyone. Like, this honestly has changed my life in the worst way possible. And every day is still a struggle, and I'm not out of the woods yet. And I wouldn't wish that on anyone. So for anyone who's thinking about getting Botox, like, just please, please, please do your research, know the truth about what it does, what it can do, the side effects. And like I said, there's a tons of community out there if you do feel like you've been injured, and we'll welcome you with open arms into our little unfortunate, sad community of people who've been injured by Botox. There's a lot of us, and I hope that more and more people share their story, because I think that's the only way that there's going to be true change. And that's what I hope to see in the next years to come, is that stories like mine reach more people, it becomes more public, it becomes more widespread, and there's something done about what's happening, because it's the way that this is being managed right now is not fair. And my life matters. Everyone who's injured, their life matters just as much. And it's sad that I didn't qualify for a treatment, an antitoxin, when I should have gotten it. My life may be different right now, but it's not. But yeah, so
I don't love that, but I love that where you want this to go, where you guys are going with it. And I do think change will happen. It might take time, but at least at the ground community, human level, you're doing all that you can do, and hopefully they'll follow suit, and we'll just keep doing it. And I think the next generation will catch on to this. I have faith that they will. Gen Z is very much like, oh, I don't want to be cringe like the millennials. Okay, well, getting Botox is cringe by the millennials. No, I'm just kidding. Again, like it's not about hating. It's just informed consent so that you're not left in the dark and you're not sitting there by yourself because maybe you don't have somebody, maybe you didn't know about this group, and all of a sudden you're like, my heart's going crazy. I'm having heart palpitations. Something's wrong with me. And then all of a sudden you're changing your life and maybe making it worse. Immediately, you know where the resources could go. So that's all I want. I just want people to have that little seed in their pocket. So if they do get it and something gets weird, they're like, I know where to go, because without that, a lot of you guys would still be spiraling, wondering what the fuck is going on. And I just don't love that, right?
Absolutely.
And it's not to say that everything is every time, but also don't say that it isn't, right? And I think that's just the message. Right. Be open to other girlies' experiences, even if it isn't yours, and be there to support them. But this has been so amazing, Kaley. Thank you so much. And we'll see you in the next episode, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye. Hi, friends. This is the Be Real Babe podcast, a place where your average babes come together to talk about life stresses, messes, and successes. A place where being yourself is the ultimate goal, where your opinion, your story, and your individual experience matters. Join me, your host B, and my guests for real and raw talks every week, laying it all out there so we can all help each other learn more, grow deeper, and evolve collectively. Now keep in mind, as a disclaimer, no one here is an expert and no one is giving any advice. This is strictly our opinions, thoughts, feelings, and for entertainment purposes only. Now with that being said, it's time. So grab your drink, grab your joint, and let's jump right in.